Hello, beautifuls. Excited to jump into another story. My story. Today I wanted to share my story of how lifelong held fears and feelings of unworthiness alchemized into courage and strength. But it wasn't until I saw myself differently that I was able to commit 100% of who I was to my business. I am sharing this with you today because I'm hoping that my story will inspire you to keep going and stay dedicated to yourself and the beautiful life that you're crafting and creating inside of your real estate business. Okay, so here we go. This is a story of, I'm going to jump all the way back to 1988. It's a little while ago. But when I was 18, I moved from the country to the city. And I only had my suitcase, a pillow, and a promise of a $5.25 an hour job. So clearly I'm dating myself here, but you know what? This is the journey of my life. So continuing on, I literally only had $190 in my pocket, and my beautiful mother, who loved me dearly, dropped me off on a busy corner in downtown Denver. And thankfully, before nightfall, I found an unfurnished room to rent for $167 a month. Friends, this was my initiation into adulthood. Now, often when I share this story, people generally feel either shocked or appalled, maybe even a little sorry for me. You know, I was the baby of 5 and my family had gone through a lot of challenging things. So by the time it was time for me to leave the house, I kind of think that my parents might have been done with me. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But I want you to know that in the moment that my feet touched the sidewalk and started walking around finding that apartment that was just for me, I want you to know that in that moment, I felt nothing but peace, freedom, and determination. With no education, no parental support, no financial privileges, no stability, no security, I was going to find my way. And from what I understand, even as a young girl, I have always been fiercely independent, organically, but I didn't always know that about myself. So now, as I shared in a previous video, I had experienced a consistent childhood message growing up that I was worthless and stupid. This is not an unusual sense for a young child to feel, right? But that message had a very, very strong hold on me. Those words literally shaped my beliefs about myself, which proved to be much stronger than my desire and my resolve as I'm stepping into this independent life. So soon I fell back into my default beliefs of not feeling deserving, capable, or worthy. So this lasted about a year, and by the time I was 19, I joined a church that reiterated the message of my worthlessness. And at 20, I married and said yes to the life that I believed that I actually deserved, one of suppression, control, and conformity. I felt depressed, suppressed, and powerless. I believed that my life was not my own. I gained 100 pounds. There is a whole laundry list of things that happened because I went into those recesses of my mind and believed the things that I thought that I should be believing about myself. In fact, I continued to struggle with low self-worth for the next 2 decades. And it wasn't until age 35 that I finally began to set a course to find love for myself from within myself. My spiritual quest that had started at age 18 was finally winding its way into awakening my very shut down, very wounded heart. And I became immersed in my spiritual studies, exposing myself to every heart-opening personal development experience that I could possibly find to help me navigate my way back to me. Now, over the years, those spiritual studies would be my anchor. I would find myself very consistently growing in consciousness and in self-awareness. And my most long-standing girlfriend had always endearingly referred to me as her beautiful butterfly because I was constantly busting out of a new cocoon into an even stronger, brighter woman as the years went by. And this cocooning and busting was exhilarating. It was absolutely exhausting, but it was my path. And by the way, it was on that path that I began to wake up to my desire to be a coach, to hold space for people and to help people as I had helped myself. All I wanted was to be self-employed and to have total creative freedom, freedom of self-expression, and to be in my coaching practice full time. Now, I'll share that I experienced many significant life changes between the ages of 31 and 48, including leaving organized religion, 2 marriages and 2 divorces, I don't know how many moves, single motherhood, poverty, homelessness, failing businesses, the death of my beautiful mother, empty nesting, my father's extreme illness, welcoming 2 beautiful grandchildren into the world, and falling in love and marrying my best friend. Life was flowing, and so was I, as I was becoming a woman who learned to love herself and have compassion for herself in her life's journey. Everything was making me stronger, but I was still growing in my confidence. I was not quite ready to take full responsibility for myself and to claim the life I really wanted to live, which was, again, to step full-time into my coaching practice. I'm sure many of you can relate to this emotional journey as it pertains to you in your real estate business, right? Sometimes that confidence just isn't there, and we have to find other ways to anchor in and continue to grow and expand. But then something happened in 2019. It changed everything. I accepted what would become my final salaried position. Now, as it turned out, the universe had to literally deliver me into the most financially rewarding yet emotionally grueling corporate position possible before I would finally look within myself for answers, for my own strength and my own stability. I was very broken down and very beat up by that job. The position was incredibly demanding, and it felt very life-taking. My heart deeply longed for balance, freedom of expression, and relief from what I felt to be a very dysfunctional way that I had to operate in order to survive each day, much less thrive each day as I was leading a team. But I knew that I was an incredibly hard worker, and I felt like I was a valuable member of the team, yet my deepest gifts and my talents were simply not needed by this position. I rarely felt acknowledged, seen, heard, or even appreciated. So, and as odd as it may sound, I am eternally grateful for this experience and for the people that I worked with and the company that I held, because I felt like I was in such complete rejection of who I was at the core of me, that it was out of this extreme experience of living outside of my own alignment that I finally came to my surrender. I finally began waking up to my own value, my own worth, and my own capability. I was finally feeling ready to give myself to myself and stop giving my beautiful self away. I was finally realizing that I deserved the life I had been dreaming of for so many years. And most importantly, to the message of this story, I was finally seeing myself differently. So as a result of that journey, on January 2022, while I was still employed, I woke up to a thought that changed my entire life. And the thought that it just reverberated through my mind. It was, I'm not meant to be kept a secret. I'm not meant to be kept a secret. I wrote those words down on a sticky note and I kept it in front of me every day. I still have this note. To be honest, at the time, I wasn't even sure what to do with this thought. And to be honest, I felt a lot of resistance around it because after all, and those who know me know this well, keeping so much of myself a secret was my mode of operation for years and years. But I immediately began to anchor into those words and dream about my exit strategy from my corporate position into my own business. And because the universe has such a beautiful sense of humor and it always unfolds absolutely perfectly, the opportunity to step out of my high-level, highly stressful corporate position and to step out of my comfort zone quickly followed these thoughts and a little faster than I expected. But regardless, I was ready. Previous fears and feelings of unworthiness alchemized into courage and strength. It was time to realize my dream of being the entrepreneur I had always seen myself as. So my question to you here is, what outside of me shifted? Well, literally everything outside of me shifted, but it didn't shift first. Internally shifted first. What had to be the first shift was my inner experience of myself. The lens through which I was seeing myself had to change first. And I discovered that I'd always possessed the tools that I needed to be independently successful. But it was not until I saw myself differently that I was able to commit to my business with 100% of who I was. Once my beliefs about myself changed, everything else changed too. Opportunities immediately began to find me. It was as if the universe was just waiting for me to get aligned with myself so it could shower a continual waterfall of blessings and support upon me. Inspired action immediately followed my yes to my business, and I was able to take consistent, massive, and immediate action, and almost every action that I took in that space felt aligned and easy. And like I've said before, just like breathing, tremendous peace in my body and excitement to move forward. Friends, this is what flow feels like. This is where all the magic happens. So, my questions for you. Do you realize how powerful you really are? Do you know that you literally have the power within you to turn absolutely anything in your life around? Do you see how you are literally holding your life as it stands today in place and not allowing for flow? Are you willing to let go of your limiting beliefs because that is what's holding you in place? And are you ready to accept that you are the procuring cause of every effect in your life based on how you see life and how you see yourself in relationship to everything in your life? You are that procuring cause to every effect. So now, as a result of my own life experiences, I can share with you that I certainly see life through a completely different lens now, and I can help you to do the same. I can help you navigate your way back to yourself, which is where all of your power is. So, friends, I'd like to know if you can relate to my story, right? Please share some thoughts with me about where you are on the path of allowing life to work for you instead of against you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today.